Namaste. My name is Rudi Zimmer. I'm International Meditation Master. Today I want to say the opposite what I have done before. It sounds so, but it's not so. The benefit of living with no purpose. This is from Alan Watts, and this was also the idea from Osho. So I want to provoke you. Bhagwan Osho's motto was, live here and now, enjoy this moment, because you have only this moment. Zen is saying the same thing. The past is over and you can't live in the future. And Watts would agree, and so would Zen philosophy. But what happens when we set goals and believe that once we achieve them, we'll finally be happy and fulfilled? I used to think that when I earned my engineering degree, everything would change. Yet on my way to that goal, I had a near-death experience. I left my body, saw it from above, and couldn't even recognize that it was me. When I came back, I realized that I had been suffering my whole life. My childhood was hell, daily abuse, but life, I realized, should be the sum of happy moments. When I finally got my degree, I was seriously ill. My degree, my lifelong dream, suddenly meant nothing. Even though becoming an engineer had been my childhood goal, it no longer held any meaning. Can you relate to that? I'm not against setting goals. I'm against suffering for goals that don't serve us. I saw students who performed even better than me, and yet they enjoyed their time. Short-term suffering is fine if it's for something meaningful. But most of our suffering comes from suppressed childhood traumas that we never processed, and so we end up repeating them. I read it again. But most of our suffering comes from suppressed childhood traumas that we never processed, and so we end up repeating them. The trauma what you have right now, I can say to 90% or 95%, it's coming from your childhood. Because you didn't have processed it, you repeat them. Much of what we suffer for are things that others could easily enjoy. Really, my study was so difficult, and other people, that's fun. The problem is our ego, our identification with something that makes us suffer. And now comes. The Alcoholics Anonymous program suggests a helpful question when facing problems. What does this have to do with me? There's always someone who could handle the same problem with you. There's always someone who could handle the same problem with you. So much insight in this. Now I always ask myself, does it make sense, or is it just an ego trip? Why should I suffer for an ego trip? Ask yourself the same and find a solution without your ego in the way. Imagine how much your spouse and the rest of the world would appreciate if you dropped unnecessary principles and ego trips and just were yourself. It would be a joy to be together with you. We learn so many rules and assumptions in childhood that are completely nonsensical. They're total nonsense. Every day, question whether those rules still serve you or whether they are even untrue. We must keep adapting to an ever-changing world. I got asked in Nepal is artificial intelligence good or bad? I said, you asked the wrong question. If you don't adapt and if you don't use AI, you are a loser. A big loser. And I've used from the beginning on AI. And AI is my coach to make me better. For example, a girl gets bitten by a dog, and for the rest of her life she's terrified of dogs. Avoiding every place they might appear, instead of healing her fear, she lets it rule her life. This you know by yourself. No? You have seen such girls or women everywhere. And if you have fear of dogs, the dogs running to you and barking. Because they know if you have fear. The solution is simple. See a life coach to work through your problems or a therapist to heal your traumas. There's only this moment, and we can't truly enjoy it if we are trapped by our ego or haunted by our past. Thank you that I could speak to you, and bye.